Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Floodlights Camera Action. Your home for the weekly reaction to the latest films in football, from Dick Van Dyke to Virgil van Dijk. We'll cover the lot. I'm Jack, but podcast is only because it's co-host. So every week, I'll be joined with my good friend Veronica to dissect all things film and football. Veronica, how are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. What about you? Are you still nominated for that Football Content Award? Do you want to remind people?
You That was very slick. Yes, I am. Nominations don't change. Funnily enough, they are sticking around. Yes, as Veronica says, I have been nominated again for a Football Content Award 2 years in a row. This time it's for best club content creator brackets football league, because I'm now too old for young content creator, which is a shame. If you go to footballcontentawards.com/voting, scroll down to best club content creator and click Hancock analysis. If you somewhat like this podcast, then you'll get to vote for me. You don't even need to register. It's completely free. You would be doing me a massive favor. Veronica, what have you been watching in the last week? I don't mean people through windows, I mean films.
Yeah, I don't watch people from Windows. I just want to
Not
make
anymore.
that
Not
very
since
clear.
not since the court case came out.
Whoa, okay. No court cases have been undertaken by me,
Behind closed doors,
except
mediation.
actually there was one mock trial that I was a part of, and they immediately put me as the defendant, and I was locked up behind this big glass screen at the courthouse. That was quite fun.
Actionable lector.
And then when they go up to the stand and they put their hands on the book and they say something. They say that thing that everyone says in films, like I promised. What the hell is it? What is it?
What I said before we even get to that, what do you mean the book? It's the fucking Bible. It's
I
like, oh
don't
yeah,
know.
you know that
I don't
pamphlet that
know.
they put their hands on called the Holy Bible.
Yeah,
No, they
well, they
say
say
something along the
something.
lines of like, "I solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth."
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
and then Jack Nicholson goes, "You can't handle the truth," and it's very jarring. But
Okay,
that's the way the
well,
American court system
so
works
that
these
thing
days.
you have to say, they assumed that everyone knows that off by heart. Like I promised to say the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I didn't know it off by heart, so I just put my hand on it, and they were waiting for me to say something. I just said like some waffle about the truth. Like I didn't know what I was doing. They probably decided to lock me up. I can't remember because I left early because I had football training.
You left the
Anyway,
court early on your
I
own
left
crime.
before I
That's a,
left
that's a
before my
baller move.
verdict. Actually, yeah, I'm a girl boss. What can I say? Speaking of being a girl boss, the first film I watched and one of my favorite films of the year, possibly my number one film of 2024, and I will be watching it 8 times, as I did with Poor Things, because when I get obsessed with a film, I will watch it at least 8 times at the cinema. That is how my brain works. There's probably something wrong with it. But of course, it is The Substance. I was so excited for it. I knew it was going to be amazing. It was amazing. I gave it 5 stars. Like I said, my favorite film of the year. I'm locking it in. I would not see anything better than this. It's my Poor Things of 2024, which I guess Poor Things came out in January, but obviously I went to Venice Film Festival and I
Let's
saw it
not get
early.
stuck into the minutiae of the analogy. It
Yeah,
came out in
let's
America
not.
last year, poor things. So
Yeah, true. And as we know, I'm very American. Anyway, The Substance. I love it so much. I love everything about this film. I don't know why people had such a problem with the ending or the last 20 minutes. Like, yeah, it's stupid and it goes so over the top and so insane and like, but that's the point. And it's about the fact that everything's so excessive and it goes to places that you would never imagine watching a film at the cinema go. And it's great watching it with a crowd. If it's still out at the cinema, please go watch it with a crowd because the amount of it's absolutely batshit crazy things that happen at the end, it's worth seeing with people. It's absolutely worth seeing with people. And I love when films do that. They just go completely off the rails. And it's fun and it's entertaining. And you know what? It doesn't. Who cares about the message? Yeah, there's a message, but who cares? The film doesn't care that much. So why do you care that much, Connor? Anyway,
poor
I had a
Connor.
great time.
We
Yeah,
love Connor.
sorry, Connor. Actually, you know what's funny because it's a body horror film. I do love body horror. Like the actually, speaking of Connor, I do really like the film Titan, which he loves as well, and that is also a female director directing a body horror film. But this film, so it's a body horror about a celebrity who's falling off, and she uses this drug called the substance, which is the name of the film, guys. You keep listening, paying attention to what I'm saying. And basically what it does is it duplicates you, your body, and it duplicates it in a way where a younger and better looking version of yourself basically comes out of your back, out of your spine, and is born out of you as a second person, and then like she stitches up your spine up again, and then you have two of you, and then like 7 days you're yourself, and 7 days the younger, better you lives. And then you kind of keep switching every 7 days, and it's like, do not forget, every 7 days you have to switch, or else something bad will happen, and you'll never guess what she does. But the fading celebrity is played by Demi Moore, who I absolutely love. She was there at the screening. She did a Q&A at the end. Her security was like completely on her the whole time, so I did not have a chance of getting an autograph or even looking in her direction when she was walking off, because she was absolutely swarmed by security. You know what? It happens with American celebrities way more than British ones, because like Saoirse Ronan had no security at all, and she left with everyone else, and so did like Emerald Fennell, and actually Richard Linklater is American, but I guess he's a director. Any American actor comes with so much security. Like, we don't have guns here. You can chill, Come on. Yes, Jack.
Fun story about an American actor. I think he's American anyway.
Oh God.
My parents went to like one of the many, probably a couple of years ago. Um, Went to like a Comic Con type event in London, and Stephen Amell was there, who is a wanker, but the story will explain. He's a wanker anyway, but he played um Arrow in what's his name? The DC Archer guy. Um, he's like the DC version of Hawkeye. He played him in the show Arrow, and he whenever he wanted to go to the toilet, he had his entire security team clear out the toilet and make sure no one else could come in. Fucking bellend. But yeah, just question about the substance. Um, it does kind of sound like a very loose adaptation of the plot of the second Austin Powers film. Can you confirm or deny?
I haven't seen any of those, but I'm sure they're not that good.
No, they're actually very good. They're very, very
Well,
good.
okay, can you let me finish my review, please?
No.
So, basically, body horror, French. Demi Moore's the older one, who is a celebrity who's falling off. Younger version of her, more attractive version, incredible human being version, is played by Margaret Qualley, who I love because she is in Kinds of Kindness. She was in Poor Things, and there was another film she was in this year, and I've forgotten it.
Driveway Dolls.
Driveway Dolls, which I hated, but let's ignore that one.
So did I. It's not good film.
Yeah, it's not very good. But she was very hot in it. We can both admit that. So shout out to her.
She's absolutely gorgeous. There's absolutely no denying that. It's just that one film was really shit.
Yeah, the film was bad, but she was good. Anyway, so yeah, that's who the actors are, and actually, main supporting actor is Dennis Quaid, father of Jack Quaid, who everyone will obviously know from The Boys, who is clearly the more famous one out of that father-son relationship, right, Jack? Yeah,
yes,
we love Jack Quaid on this podcast. And yeah, so this film, body horror, I actually was kind of worried about watching this film, because as much as I love body horror, stuff like obviously Titan and a film I watched last year of Leia Seydoux, and Skarsgård, one of the Skarsgårds. I cannot remember what the name of it was, but it was a body horror. I love them, but this one, because it, like, stuff with stitching people's bodies up and needles and stuff, like even just injecting the substance, I was like, fuck, like I hate shit like that. I fucking hate needles. Like I was scared of, okay, right, this is gonna make me sound bad, but I was scared of the COVID vaccine, not because of the COVID, not because it was a vaccine.
You're a big JD Vance guy.
Listen,
this is worrying.
I'm not anti-vax. I had all my vaccinations, but like I almost passed out getting my vaccine purely because I just don't like needles. Okay, I just don't like needles. It's a needle thing. but I did get it. Obviously, I got it. Anyway, this film actually helped me kind of get over my fear of needles because it was really up close and terrifying. So if I watched that and I watched someone's spine get stitched back up with like a shoelace and a needle, then I feel like I can get a blood test now and not be scared and not pass out. So thank you to the substance for that. Um, I guess it's exposure therapy or something. Well, whatever. Demi Moore, my should be nominated for an Oscar. My personal Oscar nominations right now, if I was in charge, would be Nicole Kidman for Baby Doll, not Baby Doll, Baby Girl, which I keep getting wrong, and Demi Moore for The Substance. Those are my two that should be getting into Best Actress. They will not, but they should. Because Demi Moore is absolutely incredible in this. Like when she came into the room for the Q&A, I got so starstruck like I never have with anyone else. And I'm not even a Demi Moore like super fan. It's just that I was just watching one of the best performances I've seen in so long. And then the woman who has just done that on screen has walked in. That's why I was starstruck, because of how good she was in this film. Not anything to do with any of the other films, because I probably haven't watched any of them. And also, I feel like Americans like they have an aura. I'm not gonna lie, American actors have an aura where it's like they look like a god or a goddess for really no apparent reason. There's like a shine about them. Maybe it's the fakeness, but anyway, I was still starstruck because of the performance. Sound design, by the way. Oh my god, one of the best films for sound design I've seen. Absolutely insane. Directing, insane. Like I said, favorite film of the year. I will watch it again soon, so I will be talking about it maybe next week again, because no one will listen to this episode. And I will then watch it again, and then I'll buy it on Blu-ray, and then I'll watch it every Christmas, and I'll force everybody to watch it with me every Christmas. And also, I would like to ask Demi Moore to marry me. That was The Substance. I know that I've been talking for a lot, and Jack hasn't said a word, but I do have one more film left,
To be
unfortunately.
honest, Veronica, it's a little peek behind the curtain for the viewers. I'm watching in the side of my eye. Portsmouth versus Stoke. We're fucking 4-1 down. It's
Oh,
genuinely the worst I've seen us play in years. I'm just rapidly becoming more seething. So if in the guest segment I become randomly a bit happier, it's because at that point we were at one 1-0. So we're at 4-1, and I just want to you know cry. So this has been a fun time.
right. Well, I'm happy because Liverpool are winning 1-0 against Bologna. So
For
I'm
context,
having a
by the way,
great
as well,
time.
Pompey women last time I checked is 6-1 down to West. It's 5-1.
Okay,
Jesus
so I'm
Christ.
gonna carry on. So the another film I watched since last episode is a little film that I saw a lot of people raving about on Twitter, like loads of directors and people like that talking about, oh, everyone should go watch this film. And the last time that happened was with that really rubbish Oscars film that Andrea Riseborough got nominated for. It was some old alcoholic woman. Oh, what was it? It was that film where everyone was like, Andrea Riseborough gives such a great performance, and they copy and pasted that paragraph. I can't remember. Anyway, and this is like the most press from the industry that I've seen, positive press for a film. And the film is called Strange Darling, directed by J.T. Molnar, who I've never heard of. I kind of never heard of this film before I started seeing it pop up on Twitter. I gave it 3 stars, and there's a reason why it didn't get higher. Actually, there's a few reasons, right? I'll start with positives. Actually, I'll start with saying what it's about. That's a good that's a good place to start. I feel like I always do that the wrong way around. So the film is about this woman and a man. Um, so it's not very woke, I guess. But then it actually no, it's not woke. I'll stick with not woke overall. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so it's about a one night stand a woman has with a man, and then the film is not in order. Like it's very much it has 6 chapters, and it goes from 3 to 1 to 6 chapter 5 to 4, like whatever. It jumps around completely, but it'll tell you what chapter you're in now, and then because it kind of reveals information as it goes along. So like you have this perspective, and then you'll see another part of what happened at the beginning, and then you change your mind, then you find something more out, and blah blah. It's done in a quite a cool way. So I do kind of like it. Anyway, so they have a one night stand, and then something happens. Some killings happen, right? There's a murder spree, a serial killer. I'm not going to spoil more because there's a lot of plot twists and stuff that you kind of piece together in your head while watching. So it's a good film to watch without knowing much. And I'm not good at explaining plots anyway. I will say that the main actress, who I've never heard of before, her name is Willa Fitzgerald. She sounds rich, but she is a good actress. She's very good in this film. Probably one of the best horror performances in a while, I'd say, of kind of newer films. Um, maybe like with the exception of Mia Goth in all the X trilogy films. I say this is up there. But so I did really enjoy it. It does some cool things. It's filmed in 35mm, which it announces at the beginning of the film as if it's like, okay, like no one actually cares. You didn't have to announce it with a title card at the beginning of the film. It doesn't make it scarier. It doesn't make me like you more. It actually makes me think you're pretentious. So maybe don't do that next time. That's not even the reason I gave 3 stars. The reason I gave 3 stars, this might be me being like annoying or like taking things too seriously or like just not being fun or whatever, or just not being able to let things go, but I was enjoying the film. And then there's a scene where there's 2 police officers that show up to a murder scene, right? One person is dead, the other person is alive. Whatever. The woman police officer goes to the woman on the floor who is injured and is like, oh my god, like she's injured, she's cuffed to the fridge, like she's clearly, we have to get some medical attention, blah blah, and then the guy is dead. Okay, I just spoiled the whole film. You know what? No one's gonna watch it. It doesn't matter. And also no one's gonna listen to this episode, so it doesn't matter even more. But basically, the woman police officer goes and is like, kind of stressing out about this injured woman. And then the guy police officer goes like, this is probably the worst scripted scene I've heard ever. Like, this bit of dialogue is just awful. And I can't quote it line by line, but it's something like, whoa, like, you can't just be calling the emergency services right away. We have to determine who is the victim here. Who is the victim in this situation? You can't just assume that the woman is the victim because we have to find out. We have a protocol and we have to find out who the victim is. You can't just assume it's the woman. When it's like, okay, so this was written by someone who is clearly like hashtag not all men and like, actually don't believe all women because look, there's this one time she was not the victim. She was the bad one. Oh my god, guys, look at this plot twist. And it's just like, and then she gets punished. So then the woman police officer gets punished for worrying about a woman who's like handcuffed to the fridge, looks like she's been shot. There's a guy involved. It's like, it's pretty normal to assume that she would be the victim. So why is this film like doing it in a way where it's like, oh, she's so dumb. She's so dumb. She believed the woman. But it's like, actually, most of the time, that is the case. And why is this written with such a stupid dialogue where the guy keeps reminding her like, but the protocol is to find the victim first. Stop the, and it's like, oh, it's just the dumbest bit. Like, the script is good up until that scene where it just seems like someone ripped the script out of his hands and just like started writing some bullshit after like listening to a Donald Trump press conference about hashtag Me Too or some shit. I don't know. I just didn't like it. That's why I lowered my rating from 3.5 to 3 because I'm not going to punish the main actress for her script writing a bad scene. The rest of it is fine. It's just that one scene. I just have a problem with it, and I just couldn't shake it off. To be honest, shout out Taylor Swift.
An update for you before I just chat about my films. Portsmouth are now 6-1 down. 6-1
Not
down.
as
Lively
bad.
little
Listen, not
reaction.
as bad as Celtic. Not as bad as
Oh, I
Celtic
think it.
yesterday.
No, I think this is worse. Like, I know we're not
Oh,
talking about football yet, but I may as well fucking cover it now. This is genuinely, hands down. I can't think of a worse Portsmouth performance I've ever seen. This is Oh my god. Oh god. This is the worst I've ever seen Portsmouth play. And everyone involved, apart from a select couple, should be thoroughly embarrassed of themselves. Anyway, I only got Oxford at the weekend, so nice and easy. But anyway, back to films. I saw 5 films, but I'm going to chat about 4 now. In terms of the good, and I didn't see. Actually, I saw one film I found to be bad, but we won't talk about that yet. In terms of good films, I saw a new Brad Pitt and George Clooney film on Apple TV called Wolves, which just reminds me of the Shane Gillis sketch, which is always
Reminds me of
joyous.
Alpha and Omega.
Oh yeah,
Do
the
you
whole
remember that?
sex fetish thing.
Oh my god, stop calling it that.
It is a sex fetish thing, like
It's
secretly.
not.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Alright, move
Anyway,
on.
I don't want to move on. No, I thought it was just it had potential to be considerably better, but John Watts isn't a good director. 6 out of 10, just solid, but I think a lot of people find it boring, and I wouldn't. I saw our friend Reese gave it. I think he gave it a 2, and I don't disagree with it. I can see why he gave it a 2. Then I saw classic film Pretty Woman, starring Richard Gere, who didn't have a gerbil up his ass, and Julia Roberts, who is solid. Julia Roberts is very sexy in this film. This film's pretty good. It was a 7 out of 10. It was good fun. It was a bit of a classic, so I'm glad I watched it. In terms of the great films, I said I want to rewatch first. I rewatched the Darjeeling Limited on Criterion Collection. I'll have you know. Um, Really good film. 4.5 out of 5. One of Wes Anderson's, I'd say probably his most underrated film outside of Asteroid City. Yeah, just really 3 really good performances from Owen Wilson, Jason Schwartzman, and Adrian Brody. Really introspective, kind of looking at how parents and your experiences shape the person you are. But yeah, I do recommend that. Really funny as well, funnier than I remember. And the other great film I saw that it was first time watch was Terrence Malick's The Tree of Life, starring Brad Pitt, Jessica Chastain, Sean Penn, who I don't really know why he was in this film. He wasn't very good in it. Um, it was a bit of a mind fuck. It kind of went 2001 at one point, which I really enjoyed. Again, a 4.5 out of 5. My second favorite Terrence Malick film. It's kind of like if you've seen Boyhood by Richard Linklater. It's like if Terrence Malick directed Boyhood, which is ultimately a good thing. Really enjoyed that. Now there is one more film we are going to cover. We both went to the cinema this week, and we both saw the same film. We watched Megalopolis. Veronica, what was your thoughts on Megalopolis? Because I know it's an incredibly divisive film, and for what it's worth, before I say anything else, I think every single rating that anyone's ever given this film is valid. I can see why someone gave it a 5. I can see why someone gave it a half a star. But what were your personal thoughts on it?
Alright, I'm gonna start off with saying I don't see how anyone could have given it a 5, and I don't see how anyone could have given it half a star. Because that's just stupid. Both ways are stupid. Both things are stupid. To be honest, it's not an extreme film. It's not a Marmite film at all. Actually, I think I don't see how you can hate it that much, and I don't see how you can love it that much to give it those 2 ratings. To be honest, I mean, obviously I gave it the perfect rating because I'm right about everything. So I gave it 3.5, which most people probably think is way too high. I understand, but that is okay. It's hard to explain. It's hard to explain your thoughts on this film. I've actually so when I left, I did think a lot about what I want to write in my review, what I want to say about it, and I thought of stuff, and then I just thought, no, actually, I don't want to say that, or actually, I don't agree with that, or actually, I want to say something else about something else because there was another part that I thought was better, or there was another part I want to highlight that was worse, and stuff like that. And there's just so much that you can say. I think we could dedicate a whole episode on this film, probably more than one. Like, but I don't know how you can hate it because there's a lot that happens that I just think is so interesting from so many different for so many different reasons, like just like filmmaking, there are some really cool things that happen, and if you don't see that, like your mind must have just turned off in like after the first 10 minutes, which I do understand because I think the first bit is the worst part of the film by far. Like the first half an hour is absolute rubbish, but if your brain turns off of the first half an hour and you don't let yourself get back into the film, you will probably hate it because if you let it actually win you over, like I did, because at the beginning I did think I was getting a half star. I absolutely hated it. I thought this is awful. Acting is awful. What is even going on? What are they waffling about? What is this Greek bullshit? Like, it wasn't Greek. It was Rome. What is this Latin bullshit? Like, what is going on? But then I let myself get back into it, and I was listening and I was watching, and there's like, okay, Aubrey Plaza is well platinum. No one can deny that fact.
She's, by the way, can I just say, and this is probably
Hot.
going to sound a bit, she's so fit.
Mm-hmm.
Certain actresses and actors, to be fair, when they're on screen, you'll stand to attention. Whenever she
Well,
was on screen, well,
I'm sure you said to attention.
that's
All right,
a
all right,
horrific analogy.
TMI, move on.
You will
Uh,
listen when she's on screen. You will be like John Voight at the end of the film.
so that's, well, basically what you just said. But anyway, yeah, Aubrey Plaza is well platinum. She is that character. She is brilliant. Like, a lot of people hate on the performances, but actually, I thought the performances were pretty good with what they were given. Like, Aubrey Plaza acted the hell out of that script. Like, I think she was brilliant. Adam Driver did what Adam Driver does. I don't think it was anything too special. Natalie Emmanuel, people hate on her performance, but I actually don't think it was that bad. Like, you're just hating just to hate. Like, why are you picking stuff apart? Like, just chill. Just chill sometimes. You're not a film critic. I'm not a film critic. So why are you so critical? Just grow up and just enjoy things sometimes. And I know that I hated Deadpool, but listen, I didn't give Deadpool half a star, even though I hated it, because there's things that are good. Anyway, all right. Anyway, yeah. So Aubrey Plaza was my first point. She's brilliant, and I love the name Well Platinum. It's just so funny, like, because people need to remember. I know I'm going off and absolutely not going linear with what I'm saying, but like, I feel like that kind of matches the film that we're talking about because it is a mess. It's chaotic, but I like that, and I like incoherency, and I like things that make me want to talk about them and waffle about them, and just keep going for ages because I'm a waffler and a yapper. And I can't remember what I was about to say. Yeah, the beginning was rubbish. The beginning was rubbish. Aubrey Plaza was good. I think people need to also remember this is a fable. It says it in the title. It's a fable. It's there to tell a story. It's not there to, show things as they would happen or, go through something in a way that is normal to any other film. It will go around and it's trying to tell a story. It's like a bedtime story or whatever. It's also a Christmas film
If
because
this
there's a
is sorry,
Christmas
if this is your
mention.
bedtime story, oh,
It's my
come on,
bedtime
come on,
story,
come to bed,
especially
you
with Aubrey
two.
Plaza.
Don't tell that to kids. That's not appropriate. You can't be doing that. Imagine if you sat kids down and went, "Got a story here. It contains Adam Driver going to the club,
That's
John
brilliant.
Voight's John Voight's boner, loads of drugs, and Natalie Emmanuel saying the same thing 3 times on multiple occasions." You'd be
But
like,
it's
"Whoa,
great. I have bedtime stories as an adult.
no, you have Audible. That's different."
No, I don't. Oh, we are not sponsored by Audible. I'm editing that out. We are not using that name. Absolutely not. Um, Megalopolis. Right, let me just finish what I was saying. I know I'm waffling a lot, but we don't have a script this episode. I don't know if you've realised yet, but we are
We're
completely
spitballing. We're shooting from the hip.
we're spitballing absolutely everything. Um, which is why I also just said that because there's a little bit of a warning. If you listen to this whole episode, you deserve a medal or you deserve a guest spot or something. Like, you must absolutely love this podcast. Um, it's not 96th on UK iTunes film reviews right now for no reason. Just saying. Yeah, we dropped down from 40th for a reason as well. But let's move on. Megalopolis, yes. What won me over? The bit that won me over and got me back into the film was the Colosseum scene. The whole bit, the Colosseum. Right, I was saying it was a fable. So basically, it's a reimagination of Rome, ancient Rome, as New Rome, New York City. Right, it's ancient Rome, but New York City. So it's about
By the way,
America.
just quickly, without spoiling too much, did they ever explain in the film why it was that because they kept switching between calling it America and calling the country New Rome, and
No,
just
it's not the country. New Rome is New York,
yeah, but
the
they called
city.
it the country. It was very confusing. And like what
I don't know.
I almost weirdly
Who
respected it
cares?
about Megalopolis is that it would just introduce a concept and then flat out refuse to explain it. And
Yeah,
honestly,
it's
I think
great.
more films should do that. Um, but yeah, have you got any more thoughts on the film
Yeah, I
before I
do. I
jump
have
in
a
and give
lot.
my two
Right.
cents? You've got a lot. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Right. Yeah. So the Colosseum scene, I thought was so funny. Um, I don't know, like, I mean, this might be stupid, like, so me being really immature, but like, so she has that dress on, and just she's up there, and she's like, "You can see right through me," because the dress is transparent, and she's also transparent. Like, I found that funny. Was that just me?
No, that was actually one of the only
That
good
was a good
written
bit. Come
lines in the
on,
entire
that was
film.
a
And
good
it's
bit.
probably it was almost definitely improvised.
Yeah, and I loved it. Like, I don't know who that was, the actress, but I thought that was really funny. And actually, speaking of that bit in the Colosseum, which was Madison Square Garden in this film, I'm pretty sure. Um, I don't like him. I do not like this man, but I did like Shia LaBeouf's performance. I'm gonna say it. I liked it.
Yes, because right, and the reason I liked it as well is because he essentially played like a caricature of himself. It
Yeah.
felt, apart from the the whole Nazi bit. Anyway, it
Well,
felt like
we
a
don't
very,
know.
well, yeah, it felt like a very honest, um, almost introspective performance, and kind of yeah, I thought he was. It was so stupid, but it was really. It felt very honest, and it fit whatever the film was going for. It did work in the
He
context of
was
the film.
just like a little What's that? You know when you're playing cards and then there's that one card with the Joker jester.
Yeah, they call it. Yeah, they
He was
call it.
like a
The Joker
jester
card.
in the film, right? That's kind of how I saw him. Like he was just like a little silly little jester, just going around and jumping around and just creating bad things wherever he went. Like I just thought it was quite good. It was quite funny. Um, and there's some stuff that is like clearly alluding to what Francis Ford Coppola's opinions are in America and stuff, but I don't really care about that. Although some of it was quite funny. like I don't know, I just found some of it quite funny because it was quite clearly speaking about the state of the world, but it was in such an on the nose way that it was just funny. Like it just came across as a to be honest, the whole thing came across as a parody because guess what? It is a parody. It is literally a parody of America as ancient Rome. Like that is the film. So I don't know why you'd hate on it for that. Anyway, what I was saying about the interesting filmmaking stuff, like the Colosseum bit, then Adam Driver's character, when he gets really drunk and there's that like stuff with like whether it's him and there's like
The arms.
the lighting and then he's like getting beaten up and falling over whatever and it's like I thought that was great. I'm not gonna lie, I
I thought
really
that was yeah,
enjoyed that.
that was there was some really creative decisions. Not everything worked, but there were some where you went. So I will give my thoughts on the film eventually, but
Yeah,
um,
wait for me to
I,
finish.
yeah, I do respect that Coppola took swings. It wasn't. Yeah, I'll get to it in a minute, but yeah, there were some really creative decisions
Yeah,
for sure.
some of the actual filmmaking aspects were very cool, and I was just sitting there like, wow, that was so cool. I wish it was in a different film, but anyway, yeah. So that bit I really liked. That's when I got back into the film. The beginning completely took me out. The Colosseum bit got me back in. Then, oh, actually, the actress who plays Adam Driver's mum. No, not Adam Driver's mum. Natalie Emmanuel's mum. She's the woman from Poor Things who is the brothel owner.
Yes, I noticed
And
that.
I
I
noticed
noticed
that
that.
from like the beginning, and I was the whole film. I was thinking, where do I know this woman from? She had a British accent at some point, and
Two
that's where I know
two
her
quite
from.
fun performances, by the way. I quite liked her in
Yeah,
both.
you know what? Shout out to her. Keep
Who is
going,
she? Do we know her
Grandma.
name?
Uh, anyway,
If you don't, we'll just move on. But
yeah. So, yeah, I liked that. I liked the fact that Aubrey Plaza was in most of it because her scenes were great. Like, also the end. Okay, the very end actually brought my rating down from a 3.5 to a 4. I mean, from a 4 to a 3.5. I was gonna give this film a 4. up until the very, very, very end, where they're standing on that. Okay, I'm spoiling it, but whatever. I'm not really spoiling it. It's like when they're standing on that platform as a family, and then with the baby, and then
I thought it was gonna do Aladdin, and I wish it did.
when they put the baby down, and then they stop time, and she stops time. I hated that so much. I hated it so much. And then the camera zooms into the babe. Oh my god, I just hated it. I don't
Did
know
you
why.
did you
I
not did
hated
you
it.
not were you like me? Did you think it was gonna do an Aladdin and fly off on the
No,
carpet? There was
no.
some
I
really
thought the
cool
film
shots
should have
actually.
ended earlier than that. I thought it should have
Yeah.
ended before that
It,
scene. I just didn't like that
let's
scene.
not spoil it too much, but yeah, there was some that one of the cool shots that Coppola kept using was that kind of almost like a telescope almost, and it was just like a he'd blacken everything but a circle, and it was just almost like it almost felt like that you were as a viewer you were like viewing through you're like an active participant in the film, and it was like looking through your eye almost. So yeah, which is one of them creative decisions that I actually think really worked for the film, which was cool.
Yeah. So the very, very, very ending brought it down from a 4 to a 3.5. What originally had it up to a 4 was that scene with John Voight in the bed and Aubrey Plaza and Shia LaBeouf coming in and him doing something to do with archery. Oh my god, it was so brilliant and like I kind of want to call it camp the way that it happens to Aubrey
It
Plaza.
was a very camp film
It
overall, but
Yeah,
yeah,
to be
that
fair,
moment as
in a
well.
certain way, yeah, and that scene was oh my god, it was so good. It's up there with the scene of Adam Driver and Natalie Emmanuel speaking at his workplace where he says club in that way. It's up there. Those two
You do
scenes are up
just
there.
before we do anything else. Can we do the impression? You do the impression first, and I'll
I
do
can't
it. Just
remember
that
what
one line.
what it was.
No, he goes. So you go back to the club. It's just like some kind of like
So you go
homoerotic
back to the club,
German nightclub owner. Yeah,
the club.
I saw a tweet actually. It was on the lines of Megalopolis is great because there are a bunch of line readings and character direction decisions that no one has ever tried in a film before. So like Adam Driver and mainly Adam Driver and a few others are just doing some mad shit that I've literally never seen
Yeah,
from any actor again.
but I
Like
just
the
love
line
that.
readings are hilarious.
I'm sorry, but like that is the reason why I cannot give it lower than a 3.5 because there is too much that is good. There is too much that is good. I know that there is also a lot that is bad. I know that. But the problem is it doesn't offset the good. Like you can't say it's a half star because there are a lot of bad things when actually there are a lot of good things and you can't just miss them out. You can't just ignore them. You can't ignore the cool interesting stuff. I'm sorry. Like it is cool. I want to watch it again. I'm so surprised that people hate this film. I came out of it thinking like I cannot believe people hate this film, and I think the main reason is genuinely linked to like attention span or people who walk in, they judge a film on the first 10 minutes, and then the rest of the film they watch it with a negative lens. I swear to God, there's something to this where if the start is bad, you hate on and you criticize every last thing that happens. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even notice the editing was that bad because I don't know, I was just trying to appreciate things. Maybe I was being too positive. I was trying to appreciate the good things. Okay, right. Let's move on to your reaction because you gave it one
Right.
star.
Yeah, so I gave it a 1 star. But the more I sit with it, so for what it's worth, I've not stopped thinking about the film for better or for worse since I saw it, and I went into it with a very open mind with literally zero expectations. And to set the scene, it was maybe the cinema was maybe 2/3 full. It's kind of a medium-sized screen. It's not huge, not small. By the end of the film, there were 8 walkouts, one of which came 2 minutes before the end of the film, which I found very funny. Um, an old woman at the end turned to me and went, um, "The best thing about that film was that old guy's boner," which was quite funny. Um, and when the film started, I thought there was a Fred again, who was one of my favorite musicians. There was a Fred again needle drop for a club scene, and I thought, all right, we're in here. This could be an all timer. And I don't know. I've never laughed at a film more. But I didn't laugh at it because it was good or funny. I couldn't believe what I was watching. And this isn't a film that's bad and boring. This is a film that's bad, and you like you. I refuse to believe anyone watched this film and was entertained or like nonplussed about it. I've never seen anything like it. For better or for worse, like there'll never be a film like this ever again. And I completely understand why Hollywood execs and financiers refuse to finance it. I get that completely. I think if I watched it, it could probably go up to maybe even a 2.5 or a 3. Um, I just, it felt so self-indulgent and um, pretentious,
Okay, but
and
can I just say, self-indulgent? I don't understand how that can affect your rating of a film. It being self-indulgent. Why is that a criteria when you're judging a film?
I don't know. It's just like I don't know. It just like it's one of the things I can't really quantify. But yeah, I don't know. It was just it didn't work for me. The film just didn't work for me. But ultimately, I was weirdly entertained. It was an experience, and I'm glad I saw it because I think more films like Megalopolis should be made. Not in terms of the film itself, but just a willingness to try new things. It doesn't always work. But yeah, I think the directorial choices didn't work for me. The plot didn't work for me. The dialogue didn't work for me. The performances on the whole did. I thought Adam Driver was solid. Not, I've seen him be better, but he was solid. I think Aubrey Plaza was decent. And Shia LaBeouf for me was the best performer. I think they wasted Jason Schwartzman. Jason Schwartzman was just like comedy relief playing the drums. It
I
was a
just
bit weird.
remember. Wait, I just remember one scene. Actually, I just want to give a shout out to this one scene. I don't know if you remember it. So when Natalie Emmanuel and Adam Driver are speaking, and it's like before the club line reading or after, and Adam Driver stands up, he takes his coat off, and then his assistant comes in and puts the same coat on, just a different one, back on Adam Driver while he's speaking. Like it's the funniest clip. Like he's standing there, he takes his coat off, assistant comes in, puts the same coat back on Adam Driver, but it's just a second one. Like it's just so funny. Like how can you not find that funny?
Yeah,
I'd rather watch
I
a
almost
thousand Megalopolises than one more Marvel film.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. And yeah, I think it would probably benefit from the rewatch, but I don't really want to rewatch it. It's just I'll probably I'll watch it again when it comes out on streaming because I just found it such a fascinating film. I think for the CGI, by the way, the CGI and the VFX was horrific, like really, really bad. In terms of positives, though, 'cause there were absolutely positives. I thought, as you said, the Colosseum sequence worked really well. Um, I thought the hallucinatory stuff in general was quite good. I'm really struggling now for positives, but I think
Well,
and my
Platinum.
overarching point, wow, platinum, yeah, wow, platinum, and is it Natalie Emmanuel Natalie? She was in Game of Thrones. She is I didn't love her performance, but she's very beautiful, so she gets bonus points. Um, yeah, I think my point that I said at the beginning, I still stick by in terms of I'm never going to discount anyone's opinion on this film because I completely get it. I get why people love it. I get why people hate it. But what I think shouldn't be questioned is right. Ignore the controversies that Coppola did during the making of this film. That is an absolute disgrace, and he should be the victim should be thoroughly compensated for that, and he should be criticized for it. What can't be questioned though is the ambition behind this film, its willingness to try new things, and ultimately, just the uniqueness of it. You've got to respect it, in my opinion. But to round us out, Veronica, do you have any final quick thoughts before we move on?
No, I think your opinion was very political. But I will
Yeah,
take that
woke
because
nonsense,
I
right?
don't want to
Woke
listen to you hate
nonsense.
on it anymore. Um, but yeah, I don't think we have any physical media or film news, so we can move on to football. I haven't watched any football because I have a job and I've been way too busy. I don't know if you want to do a little bit about Portsmouth, and we can do the guest segment and then wrap up. To be fair.
Absolutely. I'll keep it quite brief. I saw what game did I see? Oh yeah, I watched Portsmouth versus Sheffield United, and I'm currently watching Portsmouth. We're still at 6-1, so we're not considered a seventh yet. So that's a positive. But I thought our performance. So we drew 0-0 with Sheffield United. Our performance was so positive. Defensively, unbelievable. Didn't create loads, but you play Sheffield United, you're gonna be very happy with a point and a clean sheet. So they're a bloody good team. So I was really encouraged by that. And there's this narrative I've seen on Twitter tonight um, about how we've been shocking all season and about how our summer recruitment was terrible. I wholeheartedly disagree with both those points. I think we've been flawed over the first month, but in fairness, look at the first 7 games of the season. You know, Middlesbrough, Luton, Leeds, Burnley, Sheffield United, West Brom. There was another one in there who I've forgotten. Sunderland, that was it. To get 4 points from that, I think it's actually pretty decent. And I think, although our summer business wasn't perfect, I think we're missing a couple of profiles. We're missing an attacking left back. We're missing a pocket player in midfield. Um, we're missing that kind of that fulcrum number 10, which is a shame. But I think we did enough in the summer. I was happy with our business, but yeah, I think we really need to. So at the weekend we got Oxford. As I said, Oxford are a very good team. I'm a huge fan of Des Buckingham, their manager, not only as a manager but as a person. Big fan of the team. I know a couple of Oxford fans, and if John Mousinho, who I love and respect massively, he needs to make sweeping changes, not just in personnel but tactically, um, because otherwise we are going to get humped by Oxford, which I really don't want to happen. Because I feel like if we don't get a result versus Oxford, I do really worry for us because I think we're good enough not to go down, but you can get into these ruts as a newly promoted team where it's so hard to get yourself out of. So I think Will Norris needs to come out. Our goalkeeper needs to come out. We need to put Nicola Schmid in, who we got from an Austrian team. I can't remember who it was. And yeah, there just needs to be more. I don't know. It's hard to quantify. Like I guess for a start, they need to cut out the stupid mistakes on the ball and the stupid fouls because it's nothing short of it, just amateur. Um, I think defensively we've actually been solid for a lot of the season. Not in this game. This game, not so much. But yeah, yeah. We'll have an update next week on how Portsmouth are doing because hopefully I'll be a bit happier because I apologise for this recording. I've tried not to let Pompey affect my mood, but I'm watching it and just getting more pissed off, so I don't want to talk about it anymore. But anyway, as Veronica said there, we had Tom Williams on the show. Good friend Tom Williams, nominated for a Football Content Award, much like myself. But before we let you listen to that lovely little chat, we need you to do us a massive favour. We need you to leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify, and if you want to, for your own good, click auto download to never miss an upload.
Also on Apple Podcasts.
On Apple Podcasts, we were once the 200 something biggest film review podcast in the US. So get on it on Apple Podcasts. But yeah, as promised, here's our chat with Tom Williams. Enjoy. Tom, welcome to the show. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. How are you? Thank you for having me on. Obviously, yeah, really excited to be here. I'm slightly nervous because out of my comfort zone ever so slightly with films and I see some of the questions you're going to ask. So excited but nervous. How are you? Both.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. We won't ask anything too existential, so you don't have to worry about that too much.
Well, I can't promise that, but I'm also pretty good.
Yeah, you don't know what the mystery question is. Anyway, Tom, I'm not going to throw you under the bus too early and talk about films. We'll get to that later. But in terms of football, who do you support? I mean, I know because I'm a very clever man. Who do you support, and what was your first footballing memory specifically of heartbreak or anger? Only the positive stuff.
Yeah, of course. All the lovely good stuff. No, I support Notts, Notts County. That is not to be confused with the uh, little brother over the river. And yeah, that's where I'm from, Nottingham. And my first footballing heartbreak. I'm going to show my age a little bit here. I think a lot of people online think I'm a bit younger than I am, but I'm going to go for the 2006 World Cup. England basically crashing out on penalties to Portugal in the World Cup in 2006. I think would be my first heartbreak. First proper World Cup that I followed. Um, and yeah, in terms of England and Notts, it's been a lot of heartbreaks since then. So um, yeah, that's my first football and heartbreak memory, I'd say.
He's actually 42. Is Tom? He's just he's aged incredibly. He's like that guy who took all the science stuff. It just
He
ages
took the
very gracefully.
substance, which
Yes,
both of
exactly.
you haven't watched that film, but someone will get it. And speaking of things that someone might not get, I don't really know a lot about knots, so I had Jack write my question for me. And it's to ask you on your thoughts on the Stuart Maynard era in comparison to Luke Williams and his legacy.
I mean, you could have got away with that. Not admitting that you're not an avid Notts follower. I don't blame you. Though it's fine. Yeah, I think it's going well so far. The initial transition was always going to be difficult because Luke Williams. I don't know if you could call it like a legend of someone that's only been at a club for like 18 months of a club of our age, but I think the impact he had in terms of they're certainly iconic in the modern history of the club. Certainly, finally get us back to the football league. So it was always going to be difficult, a tough act to follow, if you like. So it was difficult for Stuart Maynard initially, but I think the biggest difference is probably in not necessarily the style of play, but the fact that we have more than one style of play. If that makes sense, like it's not so much the same sticking to possession. It's like we can win in more than one way. We can, but yeah, it's certainly different. But this season started really well, and it's a really positive time to be following the club.
Yeah, when you've got Jatta up front, anything's possible. You mentioned it there, but kind of Notts have got a very specific style of play, or as you said, specific styles of play. But I think most people, when they're maybe not the most knowledgeable, but they know a bit about the EFL, they know about Luke Williams, etc., etc. They think possession based. They think wing backs, stretching the play, 2 10s. Is that kind of that style of play? Obviously, you mix it up a bit, but is that kind of overarching style of play more of a recent development, kind of since Luke Williams came in, or is that always been something that certain clubs, like Stoke, for example, are known for like quite a direct style, and that kind of I don't know, it's almost like built into the community, right? Is that something that's really deep into Notts, or is it more of a recent development?
It's definitely recent, but not as recent as Luke Williams. It's recent. You can tell if you stand in the terraces, you'll hear Garrett forward all the time. So it's definitely something that's not quite kind of suiting all the fans of the club. But it kind of originated when the Reitz brothers took over the club when we were relegated to the National League. They kind of they bought the club and had a very distinct idea of how they want to play. They're very data driven people. They have a company called Football Radar, which is like a football data company, and basically because of that, they want to play in a way that kind of reflects that. So they want to dominate all the metrics that they kind of look for in their data. So like possession, XG, chances created, box entries, all those kind of stats and metrics. And so the style that we play is kind of to try and maximize those data points. So very much a recent development, but that's kind of why Luke Williams was brought in, I guess, to kind of really further that. And if you follow his career path, if you look at all the clubs he's been at, he's been brought in to do a similar thing. At most of the clubs he's been with whether that's Swindon, MK Dons. Since his Brighton under-23 days, he was that kind of coach. So I think the Reitz brothers saw him as the kind of perfect option for that. But we've had Ian Birchnell, who played a similar style, and then Stuart Maynard was picked for that continuation of style. So it's definitely a new thing, but it's very much ingrained already, and I don't think we'll deviate from it as long as the Reitz brothers own the club.
Now, I do want to go away from football a little bit for my mystery question. Usually it is football related. but I just wanted to bring up one of my favorite films, The Lobster, and think of a question that is related to it. So my question is, if you had to become an animal after you died, what animal would you pick to be changed into?
I said nothing existential, and then we ask him about that. That's a hard ball, isn't it?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a lobster, that's for sure. No, it wouldn't be a lobster. I've not seen the film actually, but um, it is on my extensive list to watch. That reminds me of there's a film called The Fly, I think, as well. And my dad the other day said to me it's based on a true story, and I believed him. So that probably tells you what you need to know about my animal turning into an animal belief. But I'd probably go really boring, like a dog or a cat, because they seem to have like a really good life. So I'd probably go really boring and say one of them. Like they live in civilization and they're well looked after, and cats have more freedom. But yeah, somewhere where you're looked after and fed and stuff like that, that's pretty good, isn't it? So and they haven't got worries of adult life of humans. So yeah, a dog or a cat, I think that'd be pretty good. That's quite a nice mystery question as well. I was more, I don't know why I was so worried because that was quite fun.
I'm gonna sort of throw you under the bus slightly. Now, I don't want a politician's answer here. I just want a name, no explanation. You've interviewed a lot of people. There's some very cool people, I will add. Who is your favourite guest that you've interviewed? I won't throw you under the bus too much. I just want to hear a name. Is there any that stick out?
Favorite guest? Wow, that is really tough. Yeah, politicians answer they're all amazing. Favorite guest? That is a great question. Stuart Maynard's off the top of my head just because we've spoken about him, but that's just literally off the top of my head, because we spoke about him. You know what? One of the first guests I interviewed was Andy Woodman, who's the Bromley manager. He was like really good to get my confidence up. So yeah, he was good. So yeah, I'd go with Andy Woodman. I'm not interviewed anyone too famous, but if I could wish I could give you a famous name, but like a really cool one, but no, nothing too exciting. But yeah, Andy Woodman, and obviously if Andy's listening, sorry for saying you're not too famous, but um, yeah, Andy Woodman, I'll go for.
Shout out to Bromley, by the way. I did watch them last end of last season, the National League playoff final.
Big ups to Bromley and to Deji Elleru.
Very nice.
I think he's still there anyway. I want to go from now from football to film. I want to go back to your childhood again. Do you have any early film memories, be that a trip to the cinema or a film you had on repeat a lot as a kid?
Yeah, I'm going to expose my age again here. So the first cinema trip I ever had, I don't remember it. So it's one I remember, but it's one I've been told about a lot. Is Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man film with Tobey Maguire, and apparently I was quite a hyperactive child, but for the whole film, I just sat and watched it in amazement. Um, so yeah, didn't move us a bit much, but didn't like, was fixated on the film, and yeah, so that's a very early memory. I love Spider Man growing up as a kid, so it probably makes sense why I was so transfixed on that film. But yeah, that's probably my first memory of the cinema, and then just the cinema kind of growing up. I love going. I try and go as much as I can. I've been trying to go more recently, but when I was a kid, I used to go all the time. Especially with my dad, he also loves the cinema. So yeah, they're kind of my early memories. But yeah, no, the first film I ever saw was Spider Man. So again, you can deduce that uh, I'm older than perhaps people think.
My favourite part of the first Spider-Man film is when Tobey Maguire brings the pizza and he's just holding loads of pizza and then he opens the door. That's my favourite
He's
part.
easily pleased, aren't you, Veronica? Easily pleased.
Yeah. Speaking of easily pleased, sports fans, they love watching films, don't they? And whenever a sports film comes out, they probably overrate it a little bit. But what is your favourite sports film, Tom?
Yeah, great question, because I couldn't think of many sports films, to be fair. The Rocky franchise is right up there for me. Love the Rocky franchise, 1 to 4 specifically. After 4, a bit ropey. And also, I thought about it recently. I saw the Iron Claw earlier this year, wrestling film. So I thought that was brilliant. To be fair, I thought that was yeah, right up there for me. Had me crying at the end, and yeah, no, that was fantastic. I'm a proper film crier, so it doesn't take a lot to get me going. But the Iron Claw did set me off. So I would say, if you had to pick one film, the Iron Claw, but a franchise.
Now, I am going to ask you to pick a few more than one this time. 3 favourite films of all time. Not sure if Iron Claw is on there, but if you could give us 3, top 3.
Yeah, this is really tough because it just is to narrow down to 3 films. It's not even probably a lot of people say it's really hard for them to pick 3 from like loads that they love. It actually was the other way for me. It's like, how do I pick? Like I haven't got a specific favorite, but I will start with Inglorious Bastards, which I thought was amazing. It's a film I actually, even though it's probably my favorite, I struggle to rewatch it because I can't recapture the emotion I felt watching it the first time. Specifically, the scene with Michael Fassbender when he puts the fingers up. So yeah, that watching that scene for the first time was really intense, and yeah, I wish you could. It's one of those moments where you wish you could watch it again for the first time. If that makes sense. I could go for another Tarantino film, but then you'll probably ask me about him loads, and there's loads of his films I haven't seen, so I'll avoid that. I will go for a rom com. I'll go for About Time, which I think is just a great film. They talk about films that make you cry. When I was thinking of this top 3 earlier, that was in there, and the thinking of the film just made me get a bit emotional, really. So yeah, absolutely great film. Well worth great rewatch factor to it as well. And yeah, a real roller coaster of emotions, but just yeah, really good. And then I'm struggling for a third. I watched it recently, so it's in there on recency bias alone. Really, I watched Parasite recently. I thought that was really really good. I thought it was really well made.
What was that you watched?
Yeah,
Sorry,
I thought
Tom,
it
I
was
didn't catch that. Sorry, I zoned out. What
sorry
was that? The third
Parasite.
one?
Parasite.
Oh,
Um,
I've not seen that, but good things though.
yeah, really good. I'd highly recommend. Just really well made. Just really well made. I quite like a film that's got a twist in it. Not I won't give spoilers out for you, Jack, but I like a film that's got a twist. And yeah, no, really enjoyed it. And as I say, obviously it's a foreign language film, so you are truly engrossed in terms of you have to pay even more attention, which I thought was excellent. And the atmosphere was just it builds the tension it builds. Yeah, I thought it was really really good, and acting performances were excellent. And as I say, just I quite like a film that's well made. I thought that was one of them. So, and by well made, that's probably a very a term you guys. I don't know if you probably don't like that term because it's probably a generic term to use. But yeah, that would be my top 3. Probably not the most thought through top 3, but a real mix I think in there, which I quite like, giving a bit of variety.
Variety is quite famously the spice of life. Now, maybe not your favorite films, but what is one film that you've seen recently, and what was your thoughts on it? Maybe you loved it, maybe you hated it, or maybe it was somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, so I'll just tell you about the most recent film I saw, which I saw. I guess it was last weekend, the weekend not the weekend just gone, weekend before. It ends with us. Saw that in the cinema, so it's the most recent film I've seen in the cinema. I've gone for. I'll be honest, I didn't really enjoy it. I don't often leave the cinema not pleased. I'm very easily pleased, and I just thought it wasn't great. I just didn't like the fact that by the end of the film, you're feeling sympathy for a character who it's quite obviously a deep topic, abusive relationships, and you feel sympathy towards his character. Like, you feel yourself in the cinema. I was like, oh, I feel really sorry for this guy, but you shouldn't feel that way. I feel like, I know that's getting really deep on it. It's showing the complexity of like relationships, and it's not as black and white, etc. But I just thought that there wasn't enough severity of how you felt towards him, based on his actions. And the film itself, I just thought wasn't great either, to be honest. So, like, outside of that kind of deeper meaning to it, I just thought the film, there's a lot of flaws in it. a lot of moments, even in like a dialogue, where I was just like, this doesn't really make a lot of sense, or like the jokes were just a bit weren't for me. So apologies to anyone if either of you guys have seen it and really enjoy it, or anyone that really loves that or loves the book that it was based on. I know there's a lot of the fans of the books out there, but for me, it wasn't a film I'll be rewatching. Let's put it that way.
Actually, I haven't seen that film, but it reminds me of I was listening to the Talk Tour podcast yesterday.
No, you were actually. No,
And
you were. You were actually. That's not a lie.
yeah, it
Why?
was.
That's shameful. That's shameful.
And she said, Hawk Tour Girl said that Blake Lively is one of her favourite actresses.
That's what you need to know. If she told me the sky was blue, I'd be convinced it wasn't.
Well, I'm just saying, so there are Blake Lively fans out there who might be upset. I'm sure
Yeah,
she listens to this
I
podcast as
didn't
well.
want to. I don't want to go too hard on her performance, but yeah, she's not.
I don't like her.
She's
so
not
it's fine.
great. Yeah, she's not great. Yeah, I can't lie. Not just in that, just in general, she's not my favourite. But it wasn't. It wasn't
Yeah.
my favourite acting performance of all time. Put it that way.
Now, Tom, speaking of films, I guess we are still speaking of films. Can you admit a cinematic blind spot? What was a film that is really big? You've been meaning to watch it for so long, for basically your whole lifetime, but you just haven't, and you can't see yourself doing anytime soon.
I mean, how long have you got? I think it's like pretty much every famous film there is. It's so bad. It's just because with films, if I like a lot of films, I know what's happening in the film, but I've never seen it, or like I'll know who's in it and I've seen it, or stuff like that. I don't know why it's in my head, but Sixth Sense is in my head because I feel like that's like a really famous twist, isn't it? And again, I like films with twists, and obviously I know what happens. So I guess that's probably why I haven't watched it, because everyone's like, "Oh, you watch it and you're like, I can't believe the ending." But if you already know the ending, then surely the payoff isn't really there, is it? So I guess that is like it's quite a big film. There'll be, if you name a film like a famous one that you like or you've seen, I probably haven't seen it. Or that's not true. I probably have seen a lot of them, but there will be some big ones if you name I wouldn't have seen. So there's quite a few big ones, but I don't know why Sixth Sense. Just I've always wanted to watch it, but never got around to it, and probably won't.
Veronica, do you want me to skip that little segment or?
Yes, I don't have any questions
Okay,
because I
cool.
forgot.
Wow, shameful. Tom, thank you so much for coming on, mate. We've loved having you on, and you've went out of your comfort zone a bit. It's a bit like Hot Ones, but there's no physical pain, only mental pain. And good news around you. You have also been nominated for a Football Content Award. Can you tell people where they should vote for you? And just have a little plug of everything, your social media, whatever you want.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, by the way, guys. Apologies about the Wi-Fi. I know you're going to do some editing, but I'm going to say that it's these guys have put up with my poor Wi-Fi, and I wish I could plug the fact that get some Wi-Fi brands sponsor me, please, so I can get some good some decent connection. Football Content Awards. Yeah, I'm sure you can vote on their website or over on their social media. If you go on there, I'm in for best influencer category, which I'm not too sure you call me an influencer, but we take the nomination. We take whatever we can get nominated for. It's Tom H Williams 23 on X. I was about to say Twitter then, but on X. That's my place you can find me most on social media. But I'm on other platforms as well. I'm sure you can find me on there. Thank you for having me on, guys. Apologies, my film knowledge or film picks, I guess, weren't the most inspiring, but maybe some people were enjoyed my picks. I don't know, thank you for having me on. And if you guys could, give me some film recommendations. Obviously, I'll be listening to the rest of the episode, so I'll pick some from that. But I'll stop rambling now. But thank you for having me on.
And that officially takes us up to the end of another episode, episode 11. That's big. That's 2 ones, which is more than one. Hope you enjoyed. Although it's a bit of a weirder episode this time. There's no quizzes, but there was loads of updates. A very in-depth chat about Megalopolis. If you miss us over the next week, make sure you go back and listen to last week's episode in which we chatted 2000s nostalgia with a friend of the show, Tom Little. It was
Even
an
if you've already
exceptional chat.
listened to all 10
Yeah, go
episodes,
listen.
go
There
listen
might
to
be
them
Easter eggs you
again.
missed the first time.
Go
Might
listen
be
to
Easter eggs you
them
missed the
3
first time.
times over. Do it.
For our viewership numbers, you should do that. But before you go, if you love us, which we hope you do, drop us a follow on Twitter/X. It's at FloodlightsPod, and go check us out on YouTube. Again, Floodlights Pod on there. Veronica, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. Let the people know why they should follow us. We've said what, we've said where, but why should they follow us?
Well, follow us so that we have better numbers and maybe we can get Aubrey Plaza on the show soon. If you follow us, if enough people follow us, that would be great. Maybe then we'll also be able to get press passes to London Film Festival. That would also be great. So let's get some support out there. You know, let's get people in the streets. Okay, I was gonna say like they were in Megalopolis, but actually no, let's not go that route.
No, those people were not fun. They were not fun people.
Yeah, let's not actually do that. I'm gonna move on. Our email is floodlightpod@gmail.com. If you want to email us with anything, DM us on Twitter. Jack's is Hancock Analysis on Twitter. Mine is Veronica.
Don't DM me because I can't be asked because people are going to be taking the piss out of Pompey and I can't deal with that. DM Veronica.
Well,
Veronica needs friends. You should DM her.
I don't
You
need
can talk to her.
friends.
You can talk to her about the Talk to Her podcast. So I should have.
Yeah, you can talk to me about the talk. Well, yeah. Anyway,
Only the best. Only the best.
Yeah, only the best podcast in the world. Yeah, you can DM me, Veronica_K9. If you want to send me like FIFA points or something, that'll be quite welcome. Maybe a HMV voucher or I don't know, Amazon, a gift card I'll take, I guess. No one's listening. All right, let's just finish. Let's
We'll
wrap
be
it up.
back next week, hopefully with another guest, as we had a lovely time chatting with Tom Williams today. Make sure you drop him a follow on Twitter/X and vote for him as best influencer at the Football Content Awards. And while you're there, vote for me as best club content creator in the Football League. Until next time, keep watching, keep consuming. Adios.